it's me, and for this first proper videos, I promised that I would tell some psych ward stories on Twitter, because as everybody knows, or anyone who's ever set foot in a psych ward, the juiciest gossips come from psych wards. So for context, I went to a psych ward twice last year. I have not gone yet this year, which is a good improvement. Last year I went for the first time for a month, and the second time a few months later I went for 2 weeks. If anyone needs help or is struggling, I'll make sure to put some emergency hotlines in the description. I'm not sure which one are for different parts of the US, but I'll try my best to figure it out because I don't live there, but I assume that most of you come from there. So, the first story I'd like to tell was about my arrival and how I met one of my closest friends at the psych wards. Let's call her Amy. So I arrived, for context, at the psych ward. I arrived at 4 a.m. because it was after going to the emergency room, and it was really weird. It was very jarring, and so I had to do a COVID test, but the results were very delayed, so I was not allowed out of my room for a good half of the first day. But when I was finally allowed out, a nurse took me around the psych ward to show me the different parts, and there was a big room which I'd refer to as the playroom because there were board games, there was a TV, there was DVDs, stuff to entertain yourself, puzzles. And so she shows me this playroom, and there were 3 people already in it, 2 boys and 1 girl whose name is Amy. I'm gonna call her Amy. And so Amy looks at me and just goes, "Oh my god, we need to play Uno together," and she's just smiling so wildly, and I'm like, wow, she must really like Uno. Well, alright, let's play Uno. And I agree. So the nurse leaves and we all sit down and everything is going well. They whip out the game of Uno, and then all 3 of them look at me and they go, "We don't know how to shuffle. It would be so kind of you if you could shuffle for us. It would be great." So I look at them and I'm like, alright, I can shuffle. So I grab the card and I start shuffling, and they're smiling so wildly while staring at my hands. And at this point, I'm so freaked out. I'm like, who the hell did I meet? And so we start playing, and everything is normal as we play. Everything goes back to normal. We're just playing, we're just talking. And then all of a sudden, Amy draws a card and starts screaming and tosses the card on the table, and everything goes crazy. Everyone is losing their minds, and I'm like, what is happening in there? What is this? Let me out, please, Mom, come pick me up. I'm scared. And so I asked, what's happening? Why is everyone screaming? And Amy looks at me and she goes, "Well, I have to tell you something. One of the cards went up this guy's butt," and I'm just sitting there like, what? How did this happen? And so one of the dudes that was there, that was pretty fucking weird, to be honest, had a knack for putting things where they don't belong, even if it's other people's belongings, so phones and stuff like that. One guy's phone was never the same after that. It was really, really gross. And for context, everyone who was in my specific space was around my age, a teenager. Overall, it was pretty harmless. I still look back on it fondly because that's how we became really good friends. And yeah, it's a good memory. Overall, I had a great time at the psych ward. Weirdly, it didn't help me psychologically, which is kind of ironic, but I did have a lot of fun there the first time around. The second story I'd like to tell is about one man who we are going to call Barry. And so, for context, at the psych ward there was a big garden which you were allowed to take strolls in, and depending on how well you were doing, you were allowed to go there by yourself or with a nurse. And so, personally, I was allowed to go by myself, just like all of my friends, and a lot of people were allowed to go there by themselves. And one of these people was a man from a different section of the psych ward whose name was Barry. And And Barry had a hobby. He was there for a very long time. When we met him for the first time, he told us that, yeah, I'm gonna leave soon, I've been here forever. And to this day, he's still in it, as far as I'm aware. So basically, Barry was very bored, and his favorite thing to do was to follow people around the garden and tell them the most intimate, specific details of his life, just without warning. And so throughout the weeks, he kind of became a legend among us because we started to know really specific things about him. Like, he showed us his social medias. Like, we did not ask for them, he just showed us. And we knew that he had 2 kids. We knew about like his family life, about like his past with specific struggles. We knew that he had acne on his face because apparently he had not had sex in 2 months, according to him. We knew about his prescription glasses. We knew about a lot of things about him, and it was kind of weird, but it kind of became like, I don't know, a kind of a meme. What became the biggest meme at the psych ward was his Facebook name. His Facebook name was Barros. Obviously, I'm changing it here, but it was basically his names twice with O's at the end. And so for some reason, it like was really fun to us. So we started calling everyone around the psych ward, including the staff and doctors, with this. So let's just say that my name is Ellie. We started calling me Elos, stuff like that. And for some reason, that was just how we entertained ourselves. We were like really bored for the most part. It can get really, really boring at the psych ward, but there is that. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you didn't mind the weird reference. I use pictures of myself as reference so that it's easier for me. So yeah, there was a reference in the corner. I hope it didn't weird you out too much, but it's easier. Always work with a reference in general. And I hope that you have a wonderful day, and thank you for checking out my YouTube channel, and I'll see you another time. Bye bye!